Will Jacks, you absolute beauty. What an incredible innings and what an incredible finish from our young lad Will Jacks. Absolutely decimating the Gujarat Titans today. Royal Challengers Bengaluru pick up two more points. For the first time, they won two games in a row this season. Might be coming a little late in the tournament, but it's a welcome result nonetheless. Absolutely fantastic all around performance from Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Obviously, spearheaded by that magnificent 100 from Will Jacks. We'll just do a quick analysis of this game. Welcome everyone. This is Willow and Leather and Shravan joining you once again, covering some of the fun games that are happening in the IPL right now. Thank you once again for joining this channel, supporting me through all these videos. Right, so let's get into the details of the game. RCB winning the toss and deciding to chase. Perfect decision given it was a day game, so the wicket is going to be a little drier in the first innings, so there might be a little bit more grip and turn in the first innings. And then once the sun kind of starts settling down, the wicket kind of eases up a little bit as well, and the ball kind of skids onto the bat a little bit more. So absolutely a perfect decision, and I think it was a good toss to win. With the ball, exceptional start in the power play, to be honest, from RCB, which hasn't really happened too many times this season. I think last game against Sunrisers Hyderabad, we witnessed a fantastic spell of bowling from all our bowlers in the power play, and we kind of did something similar, although not picking up as many wickets as we did in the previous game, but still keeping the Gujarat Titans batsmen quiet during that period. GT getting just 42 runs in their first 6 overs for the loss of one wicket, and then right after the power play, Shubman Gill, feeling the pressure of not getting enough runs in the power play, trying to be aggressive and then holding out in the deep against Glenn Maxwell. So yeah, a great start with the ball this time around as well. I thought Siraj bowled exceptionally well. Yash Dayal bowled a couple of really good overs in the power play. Swapnil Singh, again, the man with the golden arm, it looks like he just has this knack of picking up wickets, and he did provide that first breakthrough for RCB in that power play. And then, in the middle overs, GT definitely fought back exceptionally well, led by Sai Sudarshan's fantastic innings, really, really good stroke making ability from the young lad, and ably supported by Shah Rukh Khan, who got a promotion in the batting order today, coming in at number 4, and he really showed his hitting ability, especially against the spinners, going after the likes of Karan Sharma specifically, but even Glenn Maxwell to some extent in his latter overs as well. Really, really good shot selection from Shah Rukh Khan, which really put GT in a good position in those middle overs. I think they accelerated very well in those middle overs, which they had to do given the power play wasn't as great as they would have hoped it would be. I think they set up a really good platform, and eventually when Shah Rukh Khan succumbed and David Miller came in, I think that's where the momentum kind of shifted back again. What Gujarat Titans would have been hoping for would have been like a absolute flourish of a finish. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out as well as they would have hoped for. Sai Sudarshan again making 84 runs of 49 balls, really good hitting, stroke making as well. But I'm sure he would have wanted to accelerate a little bit more towards the end. And same thing with David Miller getting 26 of 19 balls. In that situation, I think that strike rate unfortunately wasn't sufficient enough to get more runs for GT. Some very good bowling later on in the end from the RCB bowlers as well, particularly Yash Dayal, who bowled a couple of overs in those last 5. I think he was very good with respect to his change-ups, the back of the hand slower deliveries and those wide Yorkers. He did, go for a few extras, bowled a few wides in that last over, but that is something that I think he can be forgiven for, given he was trying to stick to a particular plan, and did exceptionally well in those final overs, along with Mohammad Siraj as well. I think who bowled really well and was unlucky to not get a couple more wickets. I think he got some top edges that flew and just ended up in no man's land. But overall, well-rounded bowling effort. Despite the early clampdown from the RCB bowlers and the good solid finish at the death overs as well. Those middle overs really powered GT well enough that they were able to hit that 200 mark, which I thought was probably a par score on that wicket. But Karan Sharma and Cameron Green, unfortunately, going for a lot of runs today. The two star bowlers from the last game who were able to provide those key breakthroughs and tighten the screws as well, going for runs. And I think that has been a problem area for RCB in general, right? The same bowlers aren't consistently doing well in multiple games in a stretch. Which is why the bowling lineup hasn't looked as reliable. But again, all in all, in summary, I think execution-wise, we might have missed a few things here and there, but with respect to the strategy and doing the basics right, I think the bowling attack did a fantastic job. Coming on to the chase, Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis kicking things off the way they usually do in the power play these days, being ultra aggressive. I think Kohli definitely showing his intent and aggression, and the same thing with Faf du Plessis as well, taking on the likes of Asmatullah Omarzai and Sandeep Warrior in those first 3 overs, especially after the first over. The ball did move around a little bit in that first couple of overs, but after that, I think they settled in, and du Plessis really took the attack to the bowlers. Unfortunately, succumbing to Sai Kishore in the power play, but I think he had at least given that positive start to the team, and the platform was kind of laid at that point. And in walked Will Jacks, and between Virat Kohli and Will Jacks, they did the partnership batting very, very well. I think initially Will Jacks was definitely struggling quite a bit to get anything off the middle of the bat. In fact, getting anything off the bat itself. You saw Noor Ahmed bowling a very tight line to him, just keeping it on or just outside leg stump for a good number of balls. And they were pretty full deliveries as well, but unfortunately Will Jacks wasn't able to get decent connection on them, and missed out on a few shots. But that's where Virat Kohli showed his experience and class and kind of stepped up the scoring, knowing fully well, realizing fully well how Will Jacks was yet to hit his straps, but took those calculated risks against the spinners, going after Sai Kishore, going after Noor Ahmed, and getting those key boundaries every single over. So Virat Kohli's innings, I think, was absolutely brilliant today. Silencing, hopefully, if there are any other critics remaining out there who always talk about his strike rate. And he talked about this in the post-match interview as well. For someone who's done it for that long a period of time, I think, you need to not just look at his strike rate, but also look at the match situation. And I've talked about this in a couple of my videos earlier as well. You cannot just look at a batsman's strike rate and not really look at the value that he's adding to the team with respect to just being out there and carrying the chase through, or helping put together a strong foundation, or making sure that one end is held up. And again, this is not something that he's doing at a 120-130 strike rate. Yes, the last game against Hyderabad, that definitely was a struggle, but it didn't look like it was lack of intent in that innings. It was just the execution didn't come off, and that happens to the best of the best, right? But I think there should be no questioning his intent or the approach that he's taking towards the innings, and especially in a chase like this, he knows exactly how to boss those chases, what areas to go after, what bowlers to go after at what times during the innings, and having him there till the end in a chase is absolutely worth its weight in gold. And today, realizing that the other batsman wasn't really in the best of touches, he took it upon himself to take the attack to the spinners, and it paid off. Handsome shots. But for me, the highlight of Kohli's innings today was the fact that he brought out a couple of sweeps, which I haven't seen in a long time. He does play those slog sweeps over mid wicket or cow corner. That is definitely one of his scoring shots against the spinners. But to bring out a proper sweep, hitting it towards square leg, that was absolutely wonderful to see. It's always been an area of his game where he's not really focused on too much. It's for whatever reason, it's a shot that he doesn't prefer playing very regularly. So I think avoiding that shot kind of gives bowlers a specific channel where they can start bowling to him, especially left arm wrist spinner like Noor Ahmed. He can come over the stumps and really attack that leg stump line, bowling it fuller and trying to get him out towards mid wicket or long on. But with these sweep shots, it opened up another area of scoring for him on the ground, which meant that Noor Ahmed had to adjust his line and his length accordingly. So even though it was just 2 or 3 sweeps that he played, it absolutely set the tone for the rest of the innings, and the way the bowlers were attacking different parts of the wicket instead of taking on the leg stump there. So yeah, fantastic sight to see Virat Kohli playing the sweep shots. I think that really helps manipulate the field and also manipulates the bowler's line and length exceptionally well. So I think he should be doing this more often. So it was great to kind of see him do that in this particular game. And once Kohli kind of really kept the pace, and we were going at a good 10 runs per over right from the get-go, and we never let that required run rate go up at any point well above 10 runs per over, which was great. So we kept that momentum going through the middle, and at one point I think Will Jacks was at 17 runs off of 17 deliveries, which is not an ideal position to be in. But the fact that Virat Kohli on the other end was getting those runs and we were still scoring 10 runs per over really took a lot of pressure off of Will Jacks to not attempt any rash shots at that point of time. And you could see the communication between Virat Kohli and Will Jacks. Kohli was absolutely being very vocal in terms of being supportive and providing some guidance to Will Jacks about how to go about the innings, and it was really great to see that partnership. Like I said, it was all about partnership play. So towards the end, I think it was like some 50 odd runs needed of the last 6+ overs, I think. And at that point, I think Kohli was at 68 or 69. So all I'm sitting there thinking is, can Kohli get to his 100, right? At that point, I think it was at the end of 16 overs where or at the end of 14 overs where Will Jacks was batting on 44 from 29 balls and Kohli is on 69 from 43 balls, and RCB needed 53 runs to win. So you're thinking Kohli's on 69, RCB needs 53. Can Kohli really step up the tempo and get that 100? Because at that point I think with 9 wickets in hand the game was kind of in the bag. So it was more about us as fans trying to see if Virat Kohli can get another century. But man, how things changed in those last couple of overs. Will Jacks taking Mohit Sharma to the cleaners like never before, scoring 2 sixes and 3 boundaries, or rather 3 sixes and 2 boundaries in that over, including one no ball that he got on his waist as well, which he was able to just pull away towards backward square for a 6. Exceptional hitting in that particular over, and I think he picked Mohit Sharma's slower balls very, very well. And I think that has become a challenge for Mohit Sharma this time around, because I think, especially after last season, I think a lot of batsmen and teams have realized that Mohit Sharma uses that slower ball very regularly. At least 35-40% of his deliveries are going to be slower ones, so they're always prepared for it now. Unfortunate for Mohit Sharma that he was at the receiving end again from batsmen this time around. So that over went for 29 runs. And the over that followed was Rashid Khan's last over, and I felt this was where Shubman Gill missed a trick by not finishing off Rashid Khan's quota a couple of overs before. I think at that point you needed a wicket as dearly as possible. So with about 7 or 8 overs to go, I think Shubman Gill missed a trick by not bringing on his best wicket-taking option, which would have been Rashid Khan. Sure, Kohli and Jacks might have just played defensively against him, playing risk-free cricket, which they did for the first 3 overs of Rashid Khan's spell, where they decided to just take singles off of every delivery and then try and look for a ground shot boundary as much as possible. So basically just playing risk-free cricket, which they could have probably done again, but still, as a captain, as a bowling captain, when the game is running against you, you have to be able to make those kind of calls to bring in your genuine wicket takers, to try and break that partnership and try and wrestle some sort of momentum back from the opponents. Because at that point, a wicket was the only way they were going to be able to make a comeback into that game. And Shubman Gill just definitely missed a trick by not bringing on Rashid Khan for his final over a little earlier. But in the 16th over, when Rashid Khan did come on to bowl, the equation was very, very easy at that point for RCB. I think they needed like some 23, 24 runs or whatever it was from the last 5 overs. So the game was already in the bag with 9 wickets left. And Will Jacks decides to, take a liking to Rashid Khan. And I'll be very honest, I have never seen Rashid Khan being attacked this brutally ever before. And eventually Will Jacks picked up like 4 sixes and 1 boundary in those 6 deliveries. Absolute carnage, and he was hitting them long and far. None of those boundaries or none of those sixes were ones that, just tip over the fielder's hand and, go into the crowd or just hits the advertisement boards. These were like really massive, massive sixes that he was able to connect. And at one point, I remember suddenly middle of the over looking up at the scorecard, and Will Jacks was on 88 and RCB needed 7 runs to win. So I'm thinking in my mind, oh man, 2 hits here and he can actually get to a century. And then he hits another one and he's on 94 with 1 run to win. And that was the last ball of the over. So he couldn't afford to, take a couple of balls to pick the right one. He had to go in that particular delivery, and just the mood that he was in and the momentum that the both of them had carried into that last over there. He was seeing the ball like a football and absolutely creamed that last one as well, finishing with a 6 and thereby getting to his 100. First 100 for Will Jacks in the IPL, first 100 for RCB, his second 50 plus score this season. And it just goes to show why a lot of people were, calling for him to be included in that playing 11, especially after the first 3 or 4 games didn't go our way. I think the management definitely missed a trick by not bringing him into the fold much sooner. He's been a player who's done exceptionally well across other tournaments in the last couple of years, and here in RCB he's just been sitting and warming the bench since last season. Now I understand when you have a Faf du Plessis and a Glenn Maxwell in the batting lineup, it's very hard to find a spot by replacing one of them, which is why he didn't get a run last year, which makes sense because du Plessis and Maxwell were both doing exceptionally well last season. But this season, I think as soon as the first 2 or 3 matches finished, I think they should have been a little bit more ruthless and probably brought in Will Jacks instead of Glenn Maxwell that early. Or they should have, if they still wanted to show faith in Glenn Maxwell, they should have still brought in Will Jacks and sacrificed one of their overseas bowling options, which they did in this game. So this game, RCB basically just going with all 4 overseas batsmen, du Plessis, Green, Maxwell and Will Jacks, of which of course 3 of them are able to bowl and give you a few good overs as well. Maxwell bowled a couple of overs today, or 3 overs I think it was today. Cam Green bowled a couple of overs today. Will Jacks didn't get an opportunity to bowl, which is alright, I think, because Maxwell had that right arm off spin department covered. But again, just goes to show that there are ways in which you can still try and fit some of these players in. These are absolute gun players and you have to find a way to bring them into the fold. But at least I'm happy now and very, very satisfied that he's finally getting the run of games that he has deserved for a long time now, and he's finally able to come good on those promises that he's shown across other formats and tournaments in the last 2 or 3 years. Absolute gem of a find. Again, someone who showed great temperament as well. At that point, when he wasn't really middling the ball in the beginning of his innings, it would have been very easy for him to just try and blindly slog one out of the ground and getting out in the process. But he showed a good sense of maturity, trying to still take the innings deep, build on one or two boundaries here and there, and then kind of explode towards the end. And he really showcased his hitting ability and his batting powers in that game today. So yeah, absolutely happy for him, absolutely happy for the team as well. We're finally building some sort of a momentum, getting on some sort of a roll, ticking off a few boxes when it comes to execution and better planning and better team selection. Absolutely, I think this looks like a fairly good combination to persist with for the next 3 or 4 games, and it'll be exciting to see what else this unit can do. Again, like I said, I think the season is obviously done and dusted for RCB, but it'll be great to cause a few more upsets along the way and spoil other people's parties. So we'll see what else the team can accomplish in the next 4 games that they have. Right. So the next game for RCB is a return fixture with Gujarat Titans happening on the Saturday, 4th of May, and this time we'll be playing at the Chinnaswamy. Hopefully they can take this momentum and put on a good show at home for a change. Hasn't been a happy hunting ground for RCB this season at all, so they will definitely want to make amends there and will want to give something for the fans to be happy about and cheer about. So I suspect the same starting 11 going into that next game as well. I don't see the need for an overseas bowler coming in at Chinnaswamy either. But we'll see. I think the only question mark will be around someone like a Karan Sharma, because they have preferred not playing genuine leg spinner at the Chinnaswamy so far. But I think he's put in at least a couple of good performances to warrant a good run of games. 4 more games left in the season. I think he should probably get a chance to bowl in all 4 of those games. He's done reasonably well in some of those chances that he's been given. So I think he deserves that opportunity to close out this tournament and really showcase some more skills. And it'll be interesting to see how he does in the Chinnaswamy this season too. So that was my summary of the game. Again, absolutely fantastic performance from RCB, coming a little late in the tournament unfortunately, but it just goes to show the potential of all the star-studded names that we have in the roster there, and the bowlers are finally stepping up as well. I think in the last couple of games they've done really well in terms of their planning and execution, so positive signs. Again, all we can do is kind of play for pride and win a few more games now, and hopefully this kind of instills a little bit more confidence amongst others in the group as well, and hopefully we can continue firing together as a unit now over the next few games. More exciting games coming up through the week, so I'll probably cover a couple more games in the middle of the week, and obviously we'll do a review once we have the RCB versus GT game at Chinnaswamy as well. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in. This is Shravan with Willow and Leather. Please do like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you very much. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.